let me just start by asking you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us about Nili and what your ideas for helping the caregivers' lives be better.
Yep, thank you so much. So my name is Ashkan Vaziri. I'm founder and CEO of Biosensics. Just a bit about myself. My career has been a mix of academia and entrepreneurship. I co-founded Biosensics back in 2007 when I was a research faculty and lecturer at Harvard. I stayed in academia till 2019 when I was a full professor and tenured full professor of engineering at Northeastern with affiliation with Harvard Medical School. And then I essentially decided to join Biosensics. So a bit about our company. Biosensics is an FDA-registered medical device company that is focused on developing wearable-based solutions as well as digital health solutions for healthcare and medical applications. We started a company with the objective of developing wearable-based devices for healthcare applications. And the very first product was a fall detection technology that was very successfully commercialized, very widely used, and transformed the medical alert industry. It's used by hundreds of thousands of active users at this time. So in addition, we offer technologies to measure endpoints and outcomes in clinical trials, mainly neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's and dementia. And we develop solutions for both individuals, older adults with dementia, as well as their caregivers. So Nili is a product that we have developed based on the support from the National Institute on Aging, specifically a $3 million funding from the NIH in collaboration with Baylor College of Medicine, which essentially is a digital health solutions for individuals with dementia and their caregivers. I guess that's just a brief overview, but happy to go deeper and answer any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, things have changed so much since we started in 1995. You know, it was help by falling, the buttons, things you have to activate. What I like about Nili is that it's actually partners with your loved one. It gives you a wider picture of what their life is like. I always say creates a transparent bubble of care.
That is absolutely correct. So through multiple projects that we have done with Baylor College of Medicine, as well as other institutions, we have had the opportunity to discuss ideas with experts who provide care for older adults, including those with dementia, as well as do a stakeholder interviews, receive feedback from both older adults as well as their caregivers, and really understand the needs as well as burdens and anxieties associated with caregiving. So essentially, we design Nili with those feedbacks, those inputs, and those guidances in mind. And as you mentioned, it started a while back with a simple fall detection till now, which, you know, a solution like Nili provides a much more proactive caregiving, care coordination, as well as on the other side of the spectrum, make sure that it keeps families connected, make sure that older adults can stay in their home, live independently, have happier living and more connected living, while minimizing the care burden on their caregivers. So absolutely, the progress has been tremendous, and we are very happy to be part of it.
Well, walk me through the elements of Nili. If my loved one's wearing it, what do I learn about their life? How does it keep them independent but safe? And what are the actual options available to me as a caregiver for having this relationship with you?
Yeah, so at this point, Nili has two key components. One of them is a dedicated tablet for older adults. And the second one is a mobile application that supports multiple caregivers and assists them in providing care for their loved one. So the tablet itself for the older adult obviously is designed to have a very simple, intuitive design, but also it has features to keep them engaged, not only keep them connected with their family. For example, it supports video calls, but it also has brain games that keep them engaged with the tablet, also can potentially assist with maintaining their cognitive function. It has radio channels with 10 different channels that can be accessed at no additional cost via the tablet. Also, family sharing, photos sharing with family members are enabled both on the tablet as well as on the mobile application. So individuals can share videos and photos from the best moments they have with their grandchild or other family members. So a key part of the tablet, also a tablet solution that we have, is this electronic calendar, which essentially kind of lists the daily activities, medications that the older adults essentially need to do during everyday life in order to make sure that they keep up with different tasks, keep up with medication, keep up with their appointments, for example, with nurses and doctors, and also keep up with other components of activities of daily living, such as closing the door, making sure that the home environment stays safe. On the caregiver side, the beauty of the solution is on the caregiver side, I can see as those tasks are performed, and it provides ease of mind. So, for example, if I'm taking care of my father in collaboration with my sister, as an example, I can see whether my father is taking their medication, whether they are keeping up with their appointments, and whether they are, for example, doing dishwasher, doing instrumental activities of daily living. On the mobile application, as I mentioned, a key part is keeping up with different activities and appointments for the older adults. But also it has features that multiple caregivers can essentially coordinate care together, can text message each other, can assign tasks to each other. And as I mentioned before, it supports video calls with the family members. It supports also sharing photos as well.
What are you hearing from the families that have used and are using Nili? What are they telling you? What kind of feedback are you getting?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, just at various stages of development of the system, we received feedback and used those feedbacks in order to create the solution. But now that is actually being used, we are very happy to receive comments from especially caregivers who are using the system to assist with providing care for their loved ones. The comments of very positive, and some of them are very moving. We actually share them internally with everyone, with the engineering team, as well as the research team who have worked on this, just to make sure that they hear the impact of what they have created, how it changes people's life. So the comments that we get, there are so many highlights, but some of them are around the fact that essentially the caregivers now feel less burden and less anxiety. They stay more connected. And one of the key points that we receive is they can essentially spend much more quality time with their loved ones. So, specifically, one of the caregivers mentioned that each time he was going to his grandma's house, he was spending significant amount of time figuring out what has been done, whether the nurse showed up,
Sure.
whether the medications are, based on a schedule. Now he said that he goes there, before getting there, he checks his phones to see what has been done, do some quick checks on the tablets. He's happy to see that the grandma is engaged, share photos, play brain games. And then, he doesn't need to go through those potential arguments with the grandma, whether they remember the medication was taken. Essentially, he can spend much more quality time with his grandma. So this was, one of the very positive comments we got, which we were very happy about. Also, there are other caregivers who provided very positive feedbacks along the same line. Staying connected, having more joyful time with their loved ones instead of just spending the time figuring out their care.
I think it's such an important point that when you take the burden of, well, is there food there? There was the nurse there. Has anybody fallen? What's actually going on? Because you're actually involved in that because you have Nili. Then what's left is quality time.
Exactly.
Fun time, interpersonal time. And people know, your loved ones know that if you're there just processing and being businesslike, and that's not pleasant for them. So you're increasing the pleasant time between caregiver and care recipient.
Yes, and that's very consistent from feedback from multiple caregivers, as well as previously to some extent we saw this in the stakeholder interviews. But I think now it's actually deployed, and we ask caregivers if they would be willing to provide feedback, and some of them are generous with their time, and they do. I think what we see consistently is making the time that we have together more joyful, more pleasant. That's what we see consistently over different feedback.
And also, three of my favorite words when it comes to caregiving: peace of mind.
Peace of mind, exactly.
So you're not walking in all anxious, trying to manage things. You know what's going on because you're already involved in what's going on.
Exactly.
And you have a more peaceful, loving, fun time with your loved one.
Yes, and again, that's just a joy to hear. Each time we get those kind of feedback, it makes us obviously very, very excited. So we also are working on adding more features, making Nili more robust. Specifically, we have this roadmap of developments and partnerships. We are working with a major medical alert provider to be able to offer a joint product in an integrated way to, again, minimize the burden of providing care, minimize the burden of also deploying these type of solutions for our users, potentially add telehealth and remote patient monitoring solutions as well as some of the monitoring solution capabilities that we have, such as monitoring speech and cognition. So we have really a lot of work to do ahead of us to further expand the capabilities of Nili.
So it's not static. You're always changing and improving, listening to the caregivers, and trying to see how you can add to the Nili family.
Exactly. And I think one point I want to highlight is through the funding from the NIH, we actually have an ongoing clinical trials with Nili. So that is at Baylor College of Medicine. It's a randomized clinical trial, obviously registered with clinicaltrials.gov, and it's currently recruiting older adults with cognitive decline, as well as their caregivers. And obviously part of that is to look at the efficacy and impact of using Nili in order to minimize the burden of caregiving, and also in order to improve the quality of life of older adults. Another part is getting feedback based on different methods and different scales that are validated in order to essentially enhance and improve its capabilities. So that clinical trial is aiming to recruit 100 pairs of older adults and their caregivers. And, we are excited to hear the feedback from those studies, that study as well.
Me too, actually. I'm very excited to hear what comes from that. How do I get Nili?
Yeah, so we have essentially marketed the platform under the brand Nili. It is by our company Biosensics, but it has its own dedicated website. It's called nilicare.com. So any individual can go on nilicare.com, can further look at the capabilities of the system and its features, and essentially order it online on that website, so they can purchase it right there. We are looking into potentially also selling it through different marketing channels such as Amazon and Walmart. So we are working on that as well.
Excellent. Well, I think it's important. I think it helps our relationship with our loved ones, and I think it helps them maintain a sense of independence, even though you're still watching over them, without them feeling like you're watching over them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. This has been fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing Nili and how, what the caregivers say, and seeing everything going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate this. It's been a pleasure.